Politico has a story about corruption in Congress that came out yesterday. Reckless stock trading leaves Congress rife with conflicts. After the furor over Tom Price's investments, 4 more members quietly bought shares in the same firm. So, for those of you who didn't follow that story, Tom Price, who was a congressman, now he's Health and Human Services Secretary, he got approved for that position despite the fact that it was proven that he traded $300,000 worth of stock that he then went on to propose bills that would directly affect the price of those stocks. So there's, like, that's so brazen and so in your face with the corruption that there's a chance it actually broke laws, even though we have very lax campaign finance laws and bribery laws. And that's why Preet Bharara, U.S. attorney, was looking into him, and that's why Trump fired Preet Bharara, because he said, oh, he's looking into my corrupt Health and Human Services Secretary, fired. I mean, that's a huge story. I mean, that's one of those scandals that's kind of rises above and beyond all the pseudo-scandals that you hear about when you talk about Trump. The administration is just covering for their immensely corrupt Health and Human Services Secretary. But other people saw Tom Price got away with doing what he did, and then they're like, my turn, now I'm going to jump in it. All right, so let me give you what they say here. Even a looming scandal wouldn't deter some of Congress's most eager stock traders. Representative Tom Price, President Donald Trump's nominee to be Health and Human Services Secretary, was under siege, the harsh lights of a Senate hearing upon him. News reports showed he had bought shares in a tiny biotechnology company while sitting on committees that could influence the firm's prospects. A colleague, Representative Chris Collins, a Republican of New York, had tipped him off to the investment. But what many saw as a scandal, others saw as an opportunity. On the very day that Wyden was decrying Price's bad judgment, Representative Doug Lamborn, Republican of Colorado, bought shares of the same tiny Australian company, Innate Immunotherapeutics. Within 2 days, 3 more members also bought in, Republican Billy Long of Missouri, Mike Conaway of Texas, and John Culberson of Texas. Conaway added more shares the following week. These brazen decisions to gobble up shares of a little-known firm at the very moment when such trading was being decried as an abuse of power reflects Congress's anything-goes culture around stock investments in the pursuit of wealth. Even obvious conflicts of interest are routinely ignored by members who feast on daily trades. See, this is what happens when you don't have strict rules for these charlatans in power. They'll go out there and they'll talk a good game and they pretend like they're about the people and they're looking out for everybody and I'm representing my constituents. But this is what's really going on in Washington. This is why it's an appropriate term to call it the swamp. This is nothing but a swamp. This is the swampiest of all swamps. They see that, okay, I don't even care that Tom Price is getting grilled in committee hearings. I don't care about that. That seems irrelevant to me because nothing's going to get actually done. There's going to be no consequences. They're just going to shame him and make him look bad, but then he's going to walk out, the door, and he's going to become Health and Human Services Secretary, as he did, and he's going to make money off these corrupt investments he made. And now they're like, I'll do the same thing. It's beyond obscene. There are different rules for you and them. And they get to be a part of this giant circle jerk of money and power. And if you do anything remotely close to this, they'll put you behind bars. So this shows you want to talk about a two-tier justice system. This is as two-tiered as it gets. They do things that are obviously immoral and unethical and may violate laws here. But, Trump will just fire whatever the one rare attorney that's doing the right thing and looking into these people, investigating these people. So Politico found 28 House members and 6 senators who traded more than 100 stocks in the past 2 years. And that's mostly with, various companies that their legislation would affect. So this is as corrupt as it gets. You're not making policy decisions on the basis of what's going to be good for my constituents. What am I elected here to do? You're making policy decisions on the basis of, I want to see my bank account grow. So let me make a decision that's going to grow a company that I just personally invested in. That should be, not only should that be illegal, that should come with hefty jail time. Like, you should be in prison for that. Okay, let me give you more. I'm going to give you some specific examples here. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, the Rhode Island Democrat who sits on the Senate Help Committee, which oversees health care, is a heavy investor in pharmaceutical stocks. Last November, as lawmakers closed in on a bipartisan deal over a significant medical research bill called 21st Century Cures Act, Whitehouse bought shares in the pharmaceutical firms McKesson, Gilead, and Abbott Labs 10 days before the bill was made public. Whitehouse and his wife bought additional stock in Gilead and Amgen on November 28th, 2 days before the House voted on the bill. The day President Barack Obama signed the bill into law, Whitehouse started a series of 3 sales of shares in those companies. So again, hey, I'm going to propose a bill that's going to make this stock shoot up. Let me buy when it's low and then make money when it goes up. And I'm going to vote on it, and I'm going to be the one influencing that decision. You can't fucking do that. You can't fucking do that. You're out there working hard, busting your ass, working 9 to 5, can barely afford to keep the fucking lights on and pay the water bill and feed your kids. And these sons of bitches are already making a lot of money, and they're finding ways to cut corners. I'm going to make myself rich by proposing a bill that's going to make pharma money, but let me invest in pharma when the prices are low and then make the money because of the bill I proposed. It's unbelievable. Okay, more. Representative Adam Kinzinger, a Republican of Illinois, was a guest speaker at Prescient Edge, a small research and technology firm with Defense Department contracts, in January of 2016. When the company raised private capital later that year, Kinzinger bought in to the tune of $20,002. Kinzinger is now a member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, which oversees issues affecting Prescient Edge. So, and understand, guys, this happens in all different industries. Now, again, I won't go through all of them, but others include Bob Corker. He was, involved with these kinds of corrupt deals. There's a lot of these guys who are doing this. But whether you're talking about Wall Street and, the financial industry, whether you're talking about the so-called defense contractors and the military-industrial complex, whether you're talking about big pharma, for-profit private health insurance companies, you go down the list. Wherever there's a big industry in the U.S., you have senators and congressmen who are doing corrupt investments to make themselves rich and proposing legislation that makes them do well. Guys, this is how a banana republic functions. And that's where we are today. This is what it looks like in Congress. And understand, it's not like, hey, all the Republicans are bad and all the Democrats are good. No, this is a bipartisan issue. I just told you, Sheldon Whitehouse, Democrat, well-known Democrat. So you have the corporate Democrats and you have the Republicans all in on it together. Giant circle jerk of money and power, like I said before. So as you get screwed, as you struggle to pay the bills, as your income has been stagnant, has flatlined since 1980, and all the gains are going to corporate profits, they propose legislation that helps corporate profits even more, and they get in on the action and get a giant cut for themselves.